Hey, what's up, guys? Coach T here, back with another series of Fit Vids. So the theme for the next couple of months actually is going to be lowering stress, primarily for my target audience of those who have busy lifestyles and who are trying to live healthier. And this week, the topic is centered around principle number one of my healthy living principles, and that is belief in yourself and believing that you can. So believing that you can make a positive change, for example, and lowering stress are super related, okay? I just released podcast number 100, and the topic of that podcast, this one was very important to me. They all are, but this one was extremely important because it was somewhat of a milestone, the 100th podcast. So I was deliberate about the topic that I chose for that. But the topic was this concept of have, do, be, which is the way we tend to think about things unless we realize it and we're intentional about changing it. We think, these are the resources that I have, or the ability, or the amount of time that I have right now. So this is what I can do, and therefore this is all that I can be. But we need to think be, do, have, meaning this is what I want to be. So this is what I need to do. So let me reprioritize or rework what I have. So you can check out that episode of the TD Fitness podcast at tdfitness.net. It's episode number 100. But that entire concept is a great example of how our mindset can and does affect us. And it can determine or limit the level of our success because it determines our outlook on things. So today's message really highlights that very same point. Our outlook can cause us to be less healthy. In fact, it can limit how healthy we can be. So I'm a father, and there's a lot that I learned through that role of being a father. My daughter had the opportunity to have a small speaking role in a class presentation a few months back. And her single line in that presentation was, positive people are much more likely to be happy. So this is so profound because it really speaks to our attitudes. When we are unhappy, we're more stressed. And added stress causes unhealthiness. That's the takeaway here for you today. So 2 things to point out with that. One is that we can control our state of happiness. We can do that by changing our outlook, by being positive. And as my daughter says, positive people are much more likely to be happy, right? And number 2, we actually have more control over the causes of stress than we realize. Certainly there are some things that we just can't control, but there are times when we can control stressors in our lives simply by removing them. So sometimes we try to do too much, or we sign ourselves up for things that we can't, that we don't have time for, or that we don't have the bandwidth for, or we shift our focus constantly from one thing to another. And for those with already busy lifestyles, these things can cause added stress. So added stress, again, is unhealthy. And it's unhealthy because it limits our belief about what we can or can't do. And it's unhealthy because it causes metabolic changes in our body, and changes that tend to cause weight retention. So my message to you again is to realize these things, to point them out, and to control those things that you can control to limit the excess stress in your life. Notice that I didn't say eliminate all stress from your life, but we can't do that, but limit the excess stress. It'll make you happier, it'll make you healthier. And as my daughter said, positive people are much more likely to be happy. Coach T, out.